Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is the 8th of December. Thank you to the Insurance Circle agency, myinsuranccircle.com. I am David Rice. That is Adam, trying to make it through the day today.
Hello. Yeah, I know. My voice doesn't sound too great, but I'm here. I'm trying.
Was it because you were celebrating the Lions' much-needed win on Thursday?
No, but that game did look good. I think you might have gotten. I almost spilled my coffee. That's the kind of mood I'm in. No, I think you might have gotten me sick. I'm not sure though, but somebody got me sick.
You know, it probably was me.
Yeah,
and I do apologize for that.
But no, don't apologize. It's all good. But yeah, so I might not sound the best today doing the show, but I'm here.
You're here, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Because there were a lot of people in my family sick. So one of them got me sick, and then it was going around here too.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping this.
You're just the next victim of it, unfortunately.
I am, and it always goes to my voice for some reason. I don't know why, but at least at the start of it. But I got my coffee. I'm hoping that it helps. Well, I really do sound bad now that I have headphones on. I sound so bad, but yeah, I'm gonna.
You got your cold coffee?
I do. I got my coffee. Hopefully that helps. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you take it from here.
All right. Well, I'll just tell you what happened in basketball last week, and you can observe and listen.
Please do.
The opening week of basketball season was last week for the boys. Had a couple of great games on Friday, and quite a few teams starting the year at 2-0. Last week on Friday, I was at this game. Lumen Christi hosted the defending Division III state champ and Catholic League rival Riverview Gabriel Richard. Richard was up by as much as 10. Really hot shooting from 3 to start the game by the Pioneers. But the Titans rallied and won 65-56 to start the year 1-0 and knock off the defending state champ. Sophomore Ashton Callan, 35 points and almost 20 rebounds for Lumen in that game. And Jonathan Morgan, 23 points for him as well. Talked to the coach, Josh Trope, after the game, good friend of JTV. He's been on our show before. After the game, talking to him and other reporters, he said it was a nice 1-2 punch having both of them step up. He said Ashton is by far the best player in Jackson County, and it's not close. He said we can't expect Ashton or anybody else to have 35 and 20 every night because we're not going to win very many games by doing that. But to start the year, having both of them with great games was huge for us. So Concord, Leslie, Michigan Center, Northwest, and Columbia Central all have started the year at 2-0. A couple of good games coming up this week, including on Wednesday, the 10th, 2-0 Michigan Center hosting 2-0 Columbia Central. And girls basketball begins this week on Tuesday. We will be live on JTV tomorrow, Tuesday night. So you will not see our show if you're watching on Tuesday. You're probably watching online. We won't be on the air on TV Tuesday night. Me and Max will be live, and I think you'll be there too. Hopefully, you don't get any more people sick.
I will. Well, no, I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna be up super high in the stands, all by myself. So, feel free to wave at me, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah, don't shake hands or anything.
Yeah.
So we'll be live on JTV Tuesday night for the opening night of girls basketball season. Lumen Christi hosting Michigan Center. This is a really good non-conference game to start off the year. Lumen first-year head coach Scott Stein, previously at Ypsi Arbor Prep, back-to-back defending state champ. He actually, him and his team beat Lumen in the quarterfinal last year. And then also on Tuesday night, the Grass Lake girls travel to Division II Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard on Tuesday. Ann Arbor went 24-2 last year, lost to Tecumseh, who ended up winning the D2 title in the regional finals. So for that and more, you can check out JTV.tv, our Center for Family Health scoreboard every day. I work hard on that, so please check it out.
Yes, you do.
So check that out and all of our orthopedic rehab specialist photo galleries from all the different sports, other winter sports kicking off this week as well. Coming up on the show today, college football playoff. A lot of people are really pissed because Notre Dame is not in, which I'm on the fence. Part of me says, should they be in? Yeah, over Miami, even though Miami beat them. Still, they should. And on the other hand, I'm not upset by it. They're not in a conference because they want to take their own money and run. That's how they've always done it. And also, who have they played? They lost to Miami, a formidable opponent, but that was before Labor Day, so I don't think that really counts. And then also, they played a couple other ranked teams and beat them, but when the final rankings came out, where they were at, didn't really matter to Notre Dame. So they really haven't beat anybody worthy either to be in. So
Shane Gillis is he's in rough shape right now.
well, hopefully the Eagles are making him feel a little bit better then.
Probably are, but Notre Dame's his number one team, so he can't be too happy. I saw something with him before we started the show where he was just like, the biggest gut punch was seeing Alabama pop up, because he said that was worse than any loss that you could take, was seeing Alabama's name pop up at the end. Because he brought up a good point. You know how many yards rushing they had against Georgia in the championship?
Minus something, I think.
-3 rushing yards they had in that game. So he said when you...
And not only are they in, they're number 9,
Yeah,
too.
he said when you have that kind of performance rushing, it's just kind of like, how are you in? But... You know, I don't have a dog in this fight, so it's fun just to see this from the outside, I guess.
It's been funny to just watch everybody complain about it.
Yeah.
And the Facebook people that just complain, thinking that their Facebook opinion is going to change something.
That's always how it is.
So anyways, I think I'm on the fence with Notre Dame. We'll talk about it. But and then Alabama's in too. And Miami is in as well. People are upset about James Madison and Tulane being in. We'll talk about that too. Plus, Ohio State missing another chip shot field goal and losing 13-10. Isn't that something?
Goodness sakes.
What coincidence that happened. Also, the high school football all-state players were announced for this year. We have quite a few of them from our area. So we'll chat about that. Duke and Michigan State had a huge college hoops game on Saturday. Duke came to East Lansing and beat the Spartans. Michigan State looked just awful late in the second half. And the Wolverines are going bowling. Bryce Underwood
Against my boy.
versus your boy Arch Manning.
Oh, man. Future Pro Football Hall of Famer.
I
Arch
can't
Manning.
believe you're still
I'm calling it.
riding high on Arch Manning
yes,
like
I am.
that. Just wait until Bryce Underwood drops 4 touchdowns and 200 yards on Texas.
Arch Manning will do the same. I'm hoping for a shootout. That'll be a fun game.
I feel like it could either be a 13-10 type score and Michigan's defense can show up,
Yeah.
or it'll be like a 40-30.
I know it's a Cheez-It Bowl. It's still the Citrus Bowl, which has some history to it. This is a great matchup. We'll talk more about it later, but I still think this is one of those fun bowl matchups that's outside of the playoff.
Yes, and Notre Dame is opting out of a bowl game. I actually saw earlier we have 10 schools who were bowl eligible. 10 schools are opting out.
Wah. I didn't make the college football playoff.
Well, play a schedule then.
Yeah.
People have just been talking about, oh, well, they're going to get in anyways, so we're just going to schedule cupcakes.
We'll have to.
Clearly, that doesn't work out.
Yeah, we'll have to hear Pat. I'm curious what Pat O'Dowd's thing about Notre Dame not.
Look
making
at
the
his
playoffs.
Facebook.
Oh, really? Is it crazy? Is he going crazy? I bet he is. Because for a fan, I could see you being very upset.
Yeah, we get Pat O'Dowd in here.
Yeah, I feel like I need to hear his opinion.
Oh, and Dan Gallagher, the Irish Mafia.
That's right. That's right.
So we will get to all that when we come back. we will get to the college football playoff, plus 10 schools opting out of a bowl game. So we'll be right back on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. So the college football playoff bracket was announced yesterday. I would say there's a lot of controversy, and there is, but no matter what happens, somebody is always going to be left out. So somebody is always going to be upset. That's just how it is. And people are like, well, there's too many people upset, so now we have to go to 16 teams. And there was a certain post that I saw that on. And the mayor of Concord, Matt Lehman, made a good point on that post. He said, well, even if we go to 16, the 17th team is going to complain anyway, so it doesn't matter.
For sure, but I would still be okay with going, and this is me not having a dog in the fight. I'm always good for, I don't think these teams need to have a bye. I get it, you win the conference championship, but if you are that good, like if you're, let's just say, I know Ohio State, because they lost, but let's just say Ohio State, if you're good enough to win the national championship, you should be good enough to beat James Madison as an example in the first round. Like, that shouldn't be a big deal. So I'm okay with there being 16 teams. I don't think that there's much debate there, but I understand the slippery slope argument of being like, well, if we expand to 16, people who are 17th and 18th aren't going to be in. Yeah, but typical sports stuff is 16 teams, right? Like, that's the typical hockey, basketball. Well, now that's been expanded, but if we were just going back to the old, not the play-in, if we're just talking about just like the classic, it was 16.
Well, still after the play-in and still 16.
Yeah.
And I know March Madness is 64, but there's 16 per region.
Right, and there's so many more college teams, so that's why that happens. But just in terms of professional, I know this is college, but in terms of like big sports, 16 is not out of the realm. And like you said, that's each region or whatever you said, like each region is 16. So yeah, I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with it going to 16, but and if you don't make the top 16, whatever, because you're not going to have too many top tier teams. Like if Michigan, let's say Michigan is 17th, I'd be like, well, they didn't do enough to make it.
No, and if it was 16 this year, I wouldn't complain that Michigan didn't get in because, look, their 3 losses were to 3 teams that were in the playoff. They didn't beat those teams. They weren't good enough to get in. They lost to number 2 Ohio State.
Oklahoma.
They lost to number 8 Oklahoma. Yeah. And then the other loss was USC, but they were still, I think, 18 or 19, whatever.
So, I mean, I'd be okay with it.
Right. So the playoff bracket, 4 byes. Indiana jumped to number 1. Them and Ohio State swapped spots. Georgia number 3 after just beating down on Alabama in the SEC championship game, 28-7. I got to give a lot of credit to Texas Tech at number 4. BYU's a really good team, and they just blew the doors off of BYU. And, I am glad to see. Now, it would have been nice for Oregon to be 4. I know they weren't even in the Big Ten championship, so that was going to happen. But at most of the year, the Big Ten had 3 of the top 4 spots or 3 of the top 5. And when people say clearly the SEC is the best conference, 3 of the top 5 teams are in the Big Ten.
I have one little thing to add to that, is that, like, and to add to our discussion earlier, is like, we have to remember, not that long ago, this is like within the last couple of years, we would be talking about 4 teams in the playoffs. And then before that, we'd be talking about an Indiana-Ohio State national championship, a rematch of their Big Ten championship. Like,
the BCS.
Yeah, that is literally what we're going from, is just those 2. Then thank goodness they expanded it to 4. Now this is expanded from that. I feel like it's it's crazy. I'm still okay with 16, but it's crazy that's like people, I guess to go with like what Matt Lehman said, like people are always going to complain whether or not it's the 2, the 4, or now we're expanded even further, and then we want to get to 16. It's just kind of like, 12. I'm happy.
Everybody's
with
a
12.
winner.
Yeah, I'm happy
Because that's how today's, I guess, culture is now. Everybody's a winner.
I guess, but
Everybody gets a
I think-
participation trophy.
I guess
They're going to expand it to 32 in like 2038.
But my thinking is, and I could be wrong, but it's like I'm looking at the bracket and it's like every team in the first round, in my eyes, doesn't. Maybe Oregon would be the only exception, but I think it's just because they're going to have an easier schedule to get to the semifinals. Every team in that first round is not going to make it to the national championship. They're lucky if they make it to the semifinals. So it's just it's funny that it's like, well, we want to add 2 more teams to it. It's like, I get it, more the merrier. I'm totally good with that, but James Madison is not going to make a run. Trust me, that'd be awesome. But they're not going to make a run. Tulane's not going to make a run. So what are we setting this playoff up for? At the end, we're still going to get the matchup that we deserve to get, whether it's, Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Indiana, whatever we think. It's still going to end up being that. I just wanted to get that out there.
No, I agree. And, and it's like people are complaining about how they do the teams too. A lot of people are like, it should just be the 12 best straight up, whether you win your conference or not. So my argument to that is take Miami. Miami, who is number 10. I don't think Miami's good. I know they beat Notre Dame, but that was before Labor Day, so that doesn't count.
Did their quarterback get hurt?
Carson Beck?
Yeah. Something I thought happened with him. I could be wrong, but
I'll check on that when we go to break.
I might be wrong. That might have been just something I heard in passing. I got confused.
But, people are arguing, well, it should just be 12 best straight up, no matter if you win your conference or not. Okay, well, why is Miami? And then Miami was what, the 5th best team in the ACC by record. Duke won the ACC. That was a great game, by the way. Duke and Virginia went to overtime. Virginia, on their last play, down by a touchdown in overtime, tried to do a flea flicker wide receiver throw for a touchdown. In that moment, if they would have won, they would have been in the playoff instead of Miami. So Miami is lucky they're in just because Duke winning. But Virginia trying to go wide receiver throw in that moment to get in the playoff throws a pick. But it's like Miami, though, is the 5th best team in the ACC by record. In the ACC, which isn't a very strong conference. This year it was better, but historically it's not. Duke won the ACC. Virginia played in it. Georgia Tech. And then I'm missing one more. But still, they're the 4th or 5th best team in the ACC, and they're in at number 10. And that's what I don't understand. Now, I know, they Duke won, and they're not going to get in because they were 7-5, but then just don't have the ACC in because that was just ended up being a bad conference. Virginia was okay, but they didn't show up and they lost. And then on the other hand, it's like the 5 highest ranked conference champions get in, regardless of what conference you're in. So that's why Tulane, who won their conference, they're having a great year. They were number 20. It's not like they were not ranked and jumped all the way up. They have been ranked. Tulane is in. And then the last 2 weeks, James Madison was in the rankings too. So it's not like these teams are ranked 50th and 55th and jumped all the way in and people are pissed. You win your conference, and it's just like the NFL. You win your division you're in. Now, I know people have complained about it, but people complain about anything. But still, look at the AFC North. The Steelers are only one game over 500, and they're going to win the division, and they're going to host a playoff game, and the Steelers really haven't looked that great this year.
I guess the only defense I have for this is just that, like, I'm okay with some of these bigger teams getting in over some of these smaller teams because at least maybe they have a shot to do something. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to college basketball, it's different. Basketball's a totally different sport. You can have these George Mason, teams that Loyola, another example, that they go on these hot runs and beat really good teams and formidable foes. But like Tulane and James Madison they aren't getting out of the first round. If they do, they're definitely not getting out of the second round.
Well, I have Tulane upsetting Ole Miss.
Oh, well,
because Ole Miss is without Lane Kiffin.
That's right.
He also took a couple of the special teams coordinator, I think, and I think he's taking his offensive or another coordinator with him too after Ole Miss's season is done.
I'm glad you brought this up. How about we go through our brackets real quick and see what our brackets are?
Yeah. So I have Oregon beating James Madison. No surprise there.
Should we both say ours, or should I let you go through yours?
Well, we'll go each. So I have Oregon, right? I assume you do too.
I do too. Yep.
I have Oklahoma beating Alabama. I don't think Alabama should have been in. Now, I know the committee wasn't going to punish him for playing an extra game, but still, they have 3 losses. Same thing as Texas. Texas was left out because they have 3 losses. And, quite frankly, Oklahoma and Alabama already played this year. We already knew what happened in that game. I am going to take the Sooners over Bama.
I'm, you know what? I'll go with Alabama in this game.
Okay.
I was originally thinking Oklahoma, but I'll say Bama kind of surprises everyone, plays extremely well compared to what they did last week, and they're going to advance to the next round.
I already mentioned I have Tulane upsetting Ole Miss.
I also have Tulane. I just don't.
Right.
Again, I'm the.
But then Tulane's getting killed by Georgia.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
that's gonna
about
be
that.
bad.
I'll tell you about that. But yeah, I think Tulane. I just don't think you have a team that has a lot of turmoil with losing Kiffin and that whole situation. I don't see them doing much. So I think Tulane gets the biggest win of their college football existence with this win.
Yeah. And then I have A&M beating Miami because, again, I don't think Miami's good and they shouldn't have been in.
Miami plays a real tight game and they end up winning. At the very, very end, I predict a field goal to win it. Miami squeaks past Texas A&M and has a date with Ohio State.
So I know we're going through picking each game, but real quick, I had Miami and Alabama not making it, and my 2 teams to replace them, Notre Dame, and then either BYU or Texas. I know I just said Texas shouldn't have been in, but really it's either BYU or between Texas or Vanderbilt.
And it was BYU's quarterback that got hurt that I was thinking of.
Yes.
And it wasn't Miami. It was Carson Beck is fine. So that's part of the reason I love me some Carson Beck. So that was part of the reason I have Miami winning.
So, and then just right back up from there, you have Miami, but I have A&M, Ohio State beating A&M, and I assume you have Ohio State, killing Miami.
Yes.
Georgia beating Tulane.
I have that game being 63-3.
Just like the TCU Georgia game.
That's right.
Okay. I have Indiana beating Oklahoma. I know you
Same
have Bama.
Here. Yeah, but I have Indiana beating Bama.
Okay. And I have Oregon beating Texas Tech.
Same here. So we have the exact same Final Four.
Okay. And then I have Indiana beating Oregon.
Same here.
And then Georgia beating Ohio State.
Same here.
So Indiana, Georgia
Same
for
final.
the championship.
Say it on 3. Let's say it on 3.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Georgia.
Indiana.
That's why I did it, because I knew you weren't going to have Georgia.
I'm taking Cignetti and the Hoosiers to win it all.
You know about me liking Georgia. I think Georgia's the best college football team in the nation. I love what Indiana has done, and I think this.
I don't know why all of a sudden you're turning into a Georgia fan.
Hey, I'm a Bulldog. Indiana has had an amazing run, but I think you're going up against a team like Georgia, who is absolutely no joke. One of the best coaches in the nation, if not the best coach in the nation. I got to go with Georgia here. But I think that would be that.
I
This is
think-
the dream final in my eyes, other than like something stupid like Tulane versus James Madison. Like this is what you want if you're a college football fan. Take the two best teams in the nation. You also get a Georgia Ohio State matchup out of this. You still get Indiana, Oregon. Like you have good teams. I don't think we're going to be wrong about our Final Four. I'd be curious how it shakes out after that.
I like Georgia too. Maybe not as much as you, but I just have, you know what Ohio State does, just like last year. They would lose to Michigan, a bad Michigan team, 13-10, and then they still go on to win the national championship. So
I'll tell you this: if Indiana had to face Ohio State again in the semifinals, I have Ohio State winning. But because of how the brackets shake out, I guess if I could redesign the brackets, I'll say this: if I could redesign the brackets based on what matchups I'd like to see, I would have Georgia and Ohio State on the opposite sides because that's my national championship. But with that being said, I think Indiana, it's not a gimme, but they, in my eyes, have the easiest path to the national championship. And the Georgia-Ohio State winner of that has the toughest road to the national championship.
and then I guess just re-ranking these teams because I have Alabama and Miami out. I'm keeping Tulane and James Madison, and say what you want. They won their conference, so they're automatically in. Whether you like it or not, I have to keep them in here. So, Alabama, Miami out. I think I'll put in Notre Dame at 10, or actually at 9.
I will say this. What would be the craziest story in college football? It'd be the absolute most insane story would be if Ole Miss ended up winning it all. Can you imagine?
Lane Kiffin would be pissed.
It would be hysterical. Don't see it happening, but boy, would it be funny. I would love it.
That would be hilarious.
That might be the result I want the most, would be if Ole Miss went on a crazy run, beat Tulane, beat Georgia, beat Ohio State, and then beats Indiana in the national championship. Crazy.
Wouldn't that be something?
Hilarious.
Oh, and what's funny is ESPN is continuing with their SEC bias that they have. It's pretty clear because they came out with the TV schedule for the first round games yesterday. Each year, TNT and Turner get, I think, 2 or 3 of these first round games with the new playoff contract. And of course, it's the 2 games with James Madison and Tulane that are on TNT.
Yeah, of course.
Shocker, right?
They get the good ones.
So just re-ranking it here, Alabama out. I have Notre Dame at 9. And then at 10, I'll slide up and put Tulane 10, James Madison 11, just because they won their conference. So then 12, I would put either BYU. I just said Texas. I take back what I said. I would say BYU or Vanderbilt. They have a Heisman candidate quarterback. Oh, and by the way, the Indiana-Ohio State game had both Heisman candidate quarterbacks in that game, too. Julian Sand. By the way, I know and we hate the Buckeyes, but still, got to give credit to him. A true freshman starting quarterback for the Buckeyes, leading them to the number 2 spot in the country, going to the Big Ten championship, and he's a Heisman candidate as a freshman. Pretty good start to his college career. But in the mock drafts, Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, who I still think is going to win the Heisman, he's the projected number 1 pick.
I can see that. I think, some of that's going to, obviously, it's going to matter how the final standings shake out. And I know we're wrapping up with the college discussion. I just have a thing to tie into this.
Okay.
So have you gone on, if you haven't, I'll have to send it to you, but ESPN made a really cool thing that I was messing around with last night. They have, based on where we're at right now for the NFL and based on standings, they have a thing where you can pick the winners for every game.
Oh, I've seen that
Have
before.
you seen that?
I haven't done it yet, for right now.
It's really cool. You can find out, as an example, like I was able to figure out based on making certain teams lose and certain teams win and all that, I was able to make it to where the Lions were the number 1 seed. So it's fun.
You must have had a lot of teams lose then.
Well, me and my buddy also did last night. We also did a thing where we picked the losers, like whoever we thought was going to lose for each game, we had them win. So like Tennessee beating like San Fran, like weird stuff like that, just to see where the final standings would shake out. It's a really cool tool. I recommend anybody go to ESPN if you have like a little bit of time on a break or something like that. Go to ESPN, mess around with it. It's really cool. But because I was looking at that and it shows you the final standings for everybody at the end, this number 1 pick is kind of open to anyone at this point, to where if Tennessee gets the number 1 overall pick, where it looks like it's going to that, I don't see Tennessee's not going to take a quarterback. They have their quarterback right now. They need everything else. So
and I've been thinking about this
really
too.
Depends on that.
The last mock draft I saw, this was a few weeks ago, so maybe it's changed, but it had Mendoza from Indiana, quarterback, going number 1 to the Jets.
See, that I would see.
Because of a trade or some weird thing that they had on there. But my thing is, though, would the Jets take a quarterback?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You think they already give up on Justin Fields?
Absolutely.
Now, I don't think Justin Fields is good by any means, but why bring him in this year and then he's done?
Yeah, but they're looking at what he's done in college football, and it's one of those, to me, it is and I know he hasn't been amazing, I get that, but like it's that Trevor Lawrence situation where he is the clear best player. So it's like you have to take him now. I don't know how.
And if the Jets don't take him, that would be an all-time
fumble to keep it in the football terms. Well, I will say this. Their offensive line, they have a rookie guard who has been like one of the best rookies in football. You just don't hear a lot about him because it's not a sexy position. It's a guard position.
It's a lineman for the Jets too.
Yeah, but it's like he's had an unbelievable year. There's certain guys that have had certain guys on their offensive line that are really good. So I think getting a quarterback, this is the time. I'm never that type of guy like the Titans as an example. They go after Cam Ward. Well, they need, and sure they got Zeitler in free agency, but it's like they need help everywhere. Specifically, they need extra help on the offensive line. So to draft a quarterback and put him in a bad situation, similar to David Carr back in the day, David Carr for the Texans way back in the day.
I was gonna say David Carr.
No, well, yeah. So yeah, because Derek Carr is the one who Raiders and all that stuff.
Right.
So do you know the story about his brother?
David
Carr. Yeah,
that's actually his brother. No,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
His brother was drafted first by the Texans.
Okay,
and he was drafted, I think, number 1 overall or close to it. Very high draft pick. I can't remember. I think it was number 1 overall. And they had no offensive line. He was sacked. He only played in the league for like 6 years or something like that. I think 6-7 years. And he's the most sacked quarterback, I believe, ever. And he was just within that short span. It's because they had no line. And I don't like seeing players like a Cam Ward and other guys that get drafted high that they have no line, so they're going to look bad. I mean, look at how guys like Sam Darnold started their career. Josh Rosen. I'm not saying Josh Rosen's an amazing quarterback, but like,
oh god, I remember him.
Drafted into a very bad situation.
The Cardinals were really bad.
Very bad.
Very bad.
Those are the things where it's like I want Mendoza to go to a team that has an offensive line built, and I feel like the Jets are that team, and they're going to continue to build the offensive line. Look, Aaron Glenn, he knows what it takes to build a good football team. I truly believe that. He inherited a really bad situation similar to the situation Dan Campbell inherited.
And he knew that going into it.
Yeah. But, you look at what Dan Campbell did. Dan Campbell inherited this football team with barely anything left and with a lot of positions that really needed help. And he goes out and gets a future Hall of Famer in Penei Sewell and gets a lot of guys, gets St. Brown, all these guys that help transform the team and really build it. I believe Aaron Glenn can do that with the Jets. It's just they need a lot of help. But getting Mendoza right now, I think, is the right decision. It's do the Titans get number 1 real quick? Do the Titans get number 1? Do they trade with another team and let a team leapfrog the Jets and take Mendoza? That, I think, is going to be the drama of the draft if the Titans get number 1.
I think I agree. If the Titans get number 1, I think they trade down to where the Jets are, which would only be at 2 or 3 anyways. But trade down, Jets get the number 1 pick, take Mendoza. They have a couple decent guys on the O-line, like you said, but they still need to fully complete their O-line. Because if only one side is strong, teams know that.
Right.
And then they're going to put a Myles Garrett on the other side.
They need massive defensive help. I mean, that's the story of the Jets right now is that, right now it's no quarterback. I get that. But it's like they need a lot of help defensively. So I think, and they trade away their 2 best defensive players. So I think getting those, utilizing the draft picks, all that stuff is what.
Talk about highway robbery by Jerry Jones. They're getting their 2 best players.
Hey, he had to do something after the Parsons deal. He had to act like he
I know, but not with the Jets, though, man. The Jets need all the defensive help they can get.
Yeah.
And they actually made their situation worse by getting rid of Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
Quinnen Williams.
Sauce goes to Indy. He gets hurt. I think he's out for the year now. And then Quinnen Williams, I still think Quinnen Williams is one of the best D tackles in all of football. So
he is, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jets get number 1. They take Mendoza. I don't think that's a question. But then number 2, it'd be interesting if the Titans get number 2. Do they take the best lineman available?
I think I think the door's open for them to make a lot of different.
So I'm just going to look up a really quick mock draft.
Yeah, I would have to see. I would have to see kind of what is available. I haven't done too much research into the drafts yet. This is usually end of the Super Bowl is when I start to look into getting ready for the draft and seeing what's going to happen. But there's a lot of players that
3 hours ago, CBS 2026 mock draft. So right now the odds for number 1 is Mendoza -150. Second, this is interesting. Oregon quarterback Dante Moore +380. So number 1 pick, they actually have the Giants with the number 1 pick. They keep losing too.
Right, and it's like I don't see them. They have a couple games that I think they could sneak by and win at the end of the year when I was looking at those last few games. So I think Giants might be out of it, but they're not taking a quarterback.
This has them. I'm shocked by this. He's projected 5th best odds to be number 1 +2,200. But Giants with the first pick, linebacker Arvell Reese from Ohio State.
He's a beast, but man, I don't know.
But then second pick is Vegas taking Mendoza because Geno Smith is done.
That's
actually, I know it was garbage time. Sorry to interrupt, but yesterday was garbage time. But still, Kenny Pickett came in for Geno and actually looked pretty good and threw a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a touchdown to.
I don't see why they don't start him.
Do you hear that he had a touchdown to? I think it was Bo Jackson's nephew. I think.
Yeah, something.
And it was his first ever NFL touch was a touchdown, which is pretty sick for the Raiders.
And then, this is a surprise pick too. Number 3 pick, Titans, Carnell Tate, Ohio State receiver.
Oh, he's a monster.
Yeah, but they need to take a lineman.
Yeah, they need a little bit. They need a little bit of help, kind of everywhere.
Couple more picks here. Number 4, Cleveland. This would be hilarious. Quarterback, Dante Moore, Oregon.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's ridiculous. And then number 5, the Saints, D lineman from Clemson.
That I can see happening.
So, and then they have the Jets with the number 7 pick, taking edge rusher, Keldrick Falk, Auburn. So, and then Jeremiah Love going number 10 to the Bengals. So,
yeah,
that'd be nice. Joe Burrow with Jeremiah Love.
More weapons out there.
Yeah, and yet they'll still go 4 and 12.
That's right.
So, all right, enough of our college and mock draft. Maybe we'll do our own mock draft when it gets
We will.
closer to time. So, we'll stay on the football topic because when we come back, 2025 high school football all-state players were announced last week by the Michigan Football Coaches Association, and we will get into that when we come back. Welcome back here on JTV. The 2025 high school football all-state players were announced last week from the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association. We have 9 players in our area, all-state. By the way, real quick, I gotta mention this. No, it's not bad. I know you looked worried there.
I did, but go ahead.
No, this player should have been all-state. He wasn't, but our guy Sean Walicki.
How did he not get all-state?
He should have.
Wasn't he in the running for player of the year or something?
I was just gonna say,
what?
Sports Illustrated for Michigan football Division 6 Player of the Year. He's up for that, so go vote for him.
When I voted for him, he was like 95% of the votes so far. When I voted for him,
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't even close.
Keep voting for him.
For sure.
Anyways, he should have been all-state.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But so the all-state players were voted on. Division 5, Chris Fox, D lineman from Michigan Center. He won the Defensive Player of the Year for the Cascades Conference. Division 6, 3 players from Lumen, offensive lineman Antoine Baker, Paul Sattler at running back, Isaac Mackey on the D-line, linebacker Adam Lay from Hanover in Division 7, and 4 players from Springport in Division 8. Braden Whitaker, offensive lineman, the quarterback Gibby Overwag, Dallas Higglemeyer at receiver, and Josh Earls on the D-line. And we had a couple coaches of the year, too, that were voted on. It's a couple of them per division. It's by region. Ben Pack was a coach of the year for D8. Derek Shell for Napoleon in Division 6. And Troy Allen in D5 for Michigan Center. So, congratulations to everybody.
Real quick snub for Coach Brogan.
Yeah, but he's probably won it like 15 times.
I know. I mean,
mean,
it's cool to have a different coach win it, but it's one of those things where it's like, this was the team that wasn't supposed to make it this year, that wasn't supposed to do well, and then they win the whole thing. It's one of those
I think
NFL
if they didn't,
coach of the year things.
If they didn't win as many championships as they had before, I think he would.
And I've always disliked the voters fatigue argument for everything, where it's just like, well, Kobe only won MVP, or Jordan didn't win MVP certain years because it was like he had the numbers, but like voter fatigue, they were just like, give it to Barkley or give it to Malone, those guys, where it's just kind of like, no, but who was the best player, who was the best coach, who was all that kind of stuff. But random side tangent.
No, I agree. And it's like this year in the NBA right now, if it's not SGA winning back-to-back MVPs, it's Cade Cunningham, I think, is the MVP.
Right.
So, like, he may not have the best numbers if for those people that only look at analytics. I hate the people that just are all analytical. If you just look at the numbers, sure, it's SGA, but who's really having the best year? And the Pistons won 14 in a row? I think Cade's the MVP. Yeah. So, then maybe that's just Michigan bias. But speaking of basketball, college hoops, on Saturday, number 4 Duke went to Breslin and East Lansing and beat the Spartans, who are ranked number 7, giving Michigan State their first loss of the year. Number 3, Michigan, still undefeated. They beat Rutgers 101-60 on Saturday. They host Villanova, unranked, and play at unranked Maryland this week. So a couple of hopefully easy wins for Michigan. And Michigan State just one game this week at unranked Penn State on Saturday afternoon. Speaking of the Pistons, we'll get to them when we come back and wrap up the show. 19-5. Pistons are rolling. And the Wolverines are going bowling against Arch Manning when we come back.
Get your Cheez-Its ready.
Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. Real quick here before we wrap up. Pistons on a roll, 19-5. They won 4 of their last 5 games after losing back-to-back after their 14-game winning streak right before Thanksgiving. So,
You know what stinks? Like, by the way, the more that I've done the show, the better my voice has sounded. So that's good.
yeah, it's gotten better.
It's gotten better than the start. But
Can you still do the voicemail?
Probably not. Maybe if I don't talk for a little bit, maybe it'll come back. But I'm sounding a little bit better. But what stinks is like the Red Wings were on a similar run as the Pistons, and then they dropped like 5 in a row or something like that, and finally beat the Bruins. Bruins were coming back in that game, so it's like Red Wings are still looking pretty good though. I mean, it's still really early in the season, but man, Pistons just look borderline unstoppable. If Cade can keep doing everything he does, and Duran keeps playing how he's playing, I mean, in my eyes, he's most improved player of the year right now. Duran looks amazing.
So the Pistons now, for their last 5 games, 19-5 on the year. And the Wolverines are going bowling. Michigan will play Texas in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. I love Cheez-Its. You said get your Cheez-Its ready.
Favorite
I'll
Cheez-It?
have plenty of them.
What's your favorite Cheez-It? I really like the white cheddar Cheez-Its, and the toasted Cheez-Its are top 2.
And you're right on the same wavelength.
Right.
Number 1, extra toasty,
Yeah,
white
those
cheddar.
are so good.
Number 2.
Yeah, those are so good.
Number
man.
3, they don't have them everywhere, so it's hard to find, but the Pepper Jack.
Oh, that one also is really good. Yeah.
Yep. So Michigan will play Texas in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, New Year's Eve in Orlando, 3 p.m., live on ABC. I will be going to this game because I will be in Florida the week of New Year's.
Nice.
So we're going to take a short drive up to Orlando.
You must have been very happy when you saw that was going to be the.
Well, we had a feeling they were going to be either in that bowl game or the ReliaQuest again, like last year. Mm-hmm. So we kind of were banking on it.
Yeah.
So if they wouldn't have made it, then that wouldn't have been good for us. But
that's sick.
We will be going to that game. I'll be going to that game, and I am excited to watch Michigan bowl game 2 years in a row. And
like I said, you got a good one. I really like this matchup.
Yeah, and look, going into last year's bowl game, even though we had just beat Ohio State, still Alabama's stars, all of them played. Milroe and all of them played. And even though Michigan didn't really have any stars on that team because they were really bad, still Michigan's starters didn't play in that game. A really bad 7-5 Michigan team with their backups beating the Alabama Stars. That's exactly why they didn't make the playoff. Exactly right there. So now this year, Michigan doesn't really have any huge names going into the draft. Michigan's a pretty young team. So I think everybody's going to play. I know Bryce is going to play. I don't know why he wouldn't. So we'll get Arch versus Bryce Underwood, unless if Arch backs out and doesn't play.
Nah, he'll play.
So I'm really excited for that game. 2 of the young star quarterbacks in college. Look, Bryce is still at a decent year. People can complain all they want, saying he hasn't looked the part with eye test. Look, Michigan's always been known for running the football. So, of course, Bryce isn't going to have stellar numbers because Michigan runs the ball.
I'm not comparing the two, but you know who didn't have stellar numbers for Michigan? Tom Brady.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He was that type of quarterback that would, lead your team on a comeback.
Does what he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think Bryce will do the same thing. But look, going into last year, Michigan, even though the score looked kind of close, Michigan was by far the better team the whole game against Alabama. Let me tell you, we got poured on last year, too, in that rain.
I remember that.
And it rained for only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, yep.
So everybody's flooding underneath the building part of Raymond James. And then like 10 minutes later, it stops and everybody's running back out.
I remember your pictures from that. That's so funny.
Yeah. So that bad Michigan team with the backups beating Alabama Stars, I'm fully confident, and I don't see how Michigan doesn't beat Texas.
Yeah.
Just based on that. And Michigan Stars, or their starters, are playing in this game. So I really like this matchup. And look, you knew Michigan was going to play another high-quality opponent like that because once Michigan lost to Ohio State, we knew they were going to be in a good bowl game. And we knew that for TV and ratings and money purposes, the NCAA wasn't not going to have Michigan play a really good team. That's why they paired them up with Alabama last year. So 3 p.m. on New Year's Eve in Orlando. So go Blue and subscribe to JTV Sports with girls basketball starting this week, boys basketball second week, cheer, wrestling, bowling, hockey, all the other sports beginning as well. So subscribe to JTV Sports online at jtv.tv. So thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency. Adam, hope you get better.
Thank you, sir.
And hopefully you're better for next Monday.
That's right.
And that'll be our last show before the Christmas special, which we already filmed.
Spectacular.
And I beat him.
Oh, you spoiled it?
Well, I wanted to show off my victory.
I'll say tune in because the game is unreal. The game is
It
really
was a
good,
really good
and
game,
it was an
so.
absolute blizzard. So it was fun to film.
All right, we'll be back here next week, and appreciate you listening and watching.
Bye-bye.